Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, sir. My name is Chrisben Recaña, BS Criminology, 3rd year. So, the topic that I choose in forensic chemistry and toxicology is that topic of explosive and explosion. So, when we heard the word explosive or explosion, uh, um, we always the first thing that comes in our mind is that a grenade or a landmine or a nuclear. So what is explosive? So explosive is any substance that may cause explosion by its sudden decomposition or combustion. It is any chemical compound or mixture that under the influence of heat, pressure, friction, or shock undergoes a sudden chemical change or decomposition. So there are three classifications of explosives. The first one is according to the velocity of reaction involved. The second one is according to their chemical structure. And the third one is according to their application or design. So in the first part of the classification of explosion, so in according to the velocity of reaction involved, there are three types of explosive. The first one is low explosives. The second is primary and initiating explosives. And the last one is high explosives. So what is low explosives? So low explosives, these are low burning and used mainly as propellants like black and smokeless powder. The rate of decomposition is a relatively slow process and the wave produced is less than speed of sound. These are used for launching rockets, projectiles from guns and missile systems. So, low explosives is these are the things that is used in order to shoot a gun or in order for a gun to work. So this is like a gunpowder. So there are three classes of low explosives. The first one is primer, second is igniter, and third one is propellant. So primer is at the other end of delay is the primer. An explosive generally lead aside mercury fulminate. Igniter is gun propellants of safety blasting fuses, delay fuses, signal and distress rockets in firecrackers are used in mining and low power explosives. And the last one is propellants. Propellants are used in launching projectiles from guns, rockets, and missile system. It is a mixture of one more energetic materials plasticizer to improve processing characteristics, stabilizer to increase storage life, and inorganic additives to facilitate handling and ability and decrease muzzle mesh. So there are two types of propellants. The first one is smokeless powder. So smokeless powder is the mostly wide used propellant is based on nitrocellulose. Single base contains sol, while double base contains nitrochlorogen. In addition to NC, and triple base contains Ng plus NC nitroguanidine. The second kind of propellants is the nitrates or nitrates. This is found in black powder. So salts of nitrates such as KNO03 is used an ingredient in fireworks, gunpowder, blasting powders, matches. These are also used to impregate candle wicks. It also used in picking meat, tobacco, treatment for heavenly burning. So, the next, the second type of classification of explosive is the primary and initiating explosive. So, this kind of explosive is extremely sensitive to detonation by heat, shock, friction, and impact. It detonates without burning like lead acid and mercury fulminate. This is used primarily to start an explosion. Example of this is initiators, blasting caps, shock primer, and stub. So, primary and initiating explosive. The best example of this is TNT, where you light what is called a candle of TNT, and it will start burning and will go to the black powder that is being composed into a one big explosion. So these are the characteristics of primary explosives. The first one characteristics is can be initiated by a mechanical shock. Number 2 is primary explosives are friction and heat sensitive materials. Number 3 is readily ignited when comes in contact with flame or sparks. So the last one of kind of explosives is the high explosives. So high explosives, these explosives have very fast or high detonating rates like dynamite, TNT, and cyclonite. Also, the speed of its detonation wave equals to 1000 meter per second, and pressure equals to thousands of atmosphere, such as intensely can break a material into fragments long before its opportunity to move away. So, according to their chemical structure, there are two types of high explosives: organic explosives and inorganic explosives. So, organic explosives is nitro-containing organic compound, and inorganic explosives, these are salt-containing explosives. So, the part 3 of explosive is according to their application or design. So there are two types of design of explosives: the military explosive and the industrial explosives. So the military explosives, the following are some of the basic explosives. It composite of 40C4 mixture of RDX, anometal 246 TNT, ammonium nitrate mixture, cyclotol TNT plus ammonium picrate, tritonatol TNT plus aluminum. So the second design of explosive is the industrial explosives. Industrial explosive, the first example is dynamites, first explosive invented by Alfred Nobel. It contains up to 75% nitroglycerin absorbed and desynthesized by 25% of diatomaceous earth, and oxidizer can be relapsed to increase the energy yield. Number 2 is ammonium nitrate explosives, a nitro mixture and fuel or an NFO. Number 3 is water explosives, slurries and water gel explosive emulsions. Slurries and water gels made of aqueous solution of ammonium nitrate and sodium or calcium nitrate gelled by sugar gum or cross-link agent. Explosive emulsion synthesized by air bubbles introduced by means of hollows, glass, or plastic bubbles. The storage time is limited because of the bubbles. Now, the fourth example is homemade or improvised explosive. These are improvised explosive usually assemble at home. These are easy assemble. The number 5 is explosives with limited use. Include those which were used in the past and became obsolete. So there are some common commercial explosives. The first one is blast caps. Blast caps is one of the most commonly found explosives used to set off main charge. These are small thin cylinders with silver and copper, color with 0.25 to 0.5 inch diameter and 2 to 6 inches in length. It contains powerful and sensitive explosives. Even the heat of a person's hand can set off blasting cap. Number 2 is safety fuse. A time delay device much like a firecracker fuse. It has a black powder core and waterproof jacket and solid striped colors. Number 3 is detonating cord. Usually this has a white exterior containing PETN. This is used to set off multiple charges simultaneously. Number 4 is blasting agents. A combination of fuel and oxidants such as fuel oil, aluminum nitrate. The color ranges from brown to bright pink due to the fuel added. This requires booster since the components are not confined and cannot be set off by blasting cap. This kind of explosive was used in New York World Trade Center and Oklahoma City bombings. Number 5 is boosters. A cylinder sheet with holes in which blasting cap is inserted. This is used to increase the power of the initiating charges. Number 6 is dynamites. Dynamites, cartridge or sticks typically 1 to 3 inches in diameter and 8 to 24 inches in length. Number 7 is slurries or gels, liquid and semi-liquid form of commercial explosives. Number 8 is black or smokeless powder, common over-the-counter explosive used in reloading gun ammunition. So the black or smokeless powders these are the things that is being used in order to reload a gun in order to be used again. So these are some common military explosives. Grenades. So if we talk about grenades, we should already know what is grenades. Number 2 is fuses, used to initiate explosives in any warhead. There are two types of fuses: pointed detonated and variable time. So pointed detonated is by impact, proximity, or delay, while variable time is detonates when the warhead is at a certain distance from the target. So number 3 is ammunition. So we should already know what is ammunition is. Ammunition is used in order to reload a gun in order for it to fire again. Number 4 is rocket and missiles. So we should already know what is rocket and missiles. Mines is these are explosive that are being planted to the surrounding of a base or a territory for safety measure for the enemy not to invade them. Number 6 is submunitions. Number 7 is airdrop. Number 8 is incendiaries. device that burns rather than explodes. Number 9 is chemical ordnance. Simple as sarin grenade or smoke bomb, or as little as sarin nerve gas. Use type typically gray with color bands. So, the best example is for this is smoke bomb or smoke grenade. Smoke grenade is typically used in order for it is used in order for the people that will inhale the smoke will not be able to think properly and will get mentally and physically damaged. Mentally damaged. No. So, laboratory examination. Suspected explosive and extractive powder from live bombs or blasting caps should be examined qualitatively, which includes chemical and confirmatory tests to determine the presence of explosive and or explosives or explosive ingredients. Why do law enforcement need to know about explosives? So, why do law enforcement need to know about explosives? So, the reason why law enforcement need to know about explosives is that they often encounter explosives which are found at the construction sites or those buried underground. So, report as it liberates great amount of energy in the form of heat, light, and other form of gases. So the second reason is that law enforcement encounter explosives at the crime scene. So as I already said before that explosive is also used in guns. So if there are a crime scene that involve guns, it involves guns, the law enforcer should know on how to deal with it. Then the number 3 reason is law enforcers should know some lands may contain toxic chemicals and explosive ordnance. So what it means is that the law enforcer should know if there are highly toxic chemicals that if it light up, it will explode. So that is explosive. So what is as I say before, I will topic is explosive and explosion. So what is explosion? We already talked about explosive, so we should also know what is explosion. So explosion is a violent bursting or expansion caused by the release of mechanical, chemical, or nuclear energy from unconfined area. This is the phenomenon resulting from a sudden release of energy, and this happens so rapidly that a local accumulation of energy occurs at the site of explosion, moving outward in various ways. So, implosion. Implosion is a similar phenomenon except that the energy release is initially directed inward. There are 3 types of explosion. The first one is mechanical explosion. The second one is atomic explosion, and the last one is chemical explosion. So what is mechanical explosion? So mechanical explosion, it is a sudden breaking apart, shattering, or bursting into pieces by internal pressure, such as those caused by expansion of gas producing high pressure beyond the capacity of container, also known as pressure explosion. The second one is atomic explosion. Atomic explosion resulting from atomic transformation. And the last one is chemical explosion, which is a source of explosion wherein the source of energy comes from an explosive substance such as gunpowder, produced through the extremely rapid transformation of the unstable substance accompanied by the formation of heat. So there are factors affecting the rate of explosion of brasons. The first one is method of initiation. Second is nature of explosion, so its nature. The third one is the size and confinement of the charge, or smaller container tends to increase the temperature from the growing heat or reaction. So the size of the explosion also matters in explosion. Physical conditions such as air density and temperature. So it also matters the temperature of the area or its climate for the explosion to be more effective. So question, so can there be an explosion without an explosive? So the answer is yes. There can be an explosion without an explosive, because explosion may be caused by sudden breaking apart, shattering, or bursting into pieces by internal pressure, such as those caused by expansion of gas producing high pressure beyond the capacity of the container. So what it means is that even without explosive, there is explosion, because the reason why there is explosion is that it is being burst into pieces by its internal pressure. So internal pressure is inside of the container, or container or medium of the explosion that is being confined. So even the tiniest drop of water can be considered as explosion. So it must be noted that the term explosion should not be limited only a phenomenon resulting from atomic transformation, wherein the source of energy comes from an explosive substance. Explosion may be caused by sudden breaking apart, shattering, or bursting into pieces of gas producing high pressure beyond the capacity of the container. So example is this, that if you have a balloon, and if you put a water on it, you put a lot of water on the balloon, that it causes the balloon to explode, or it causes the balloon to break apart because of the density and the pressure of the water that the balloon can't handle. So mechanisms and effect of explosion. So an explosion produces very rapid growing shock waves, moving outward as its transformation into a more stable substance. It is accompanied by a loud and sharp report that celebrates great amount of energy in the form of heat, light, and other form of gases. So shockwave chain reaction stable substance. Shockwave chain reaction substances unstable. Chain reaction causes the decomposition and rearrangement of molecules with a greater release of energy. So it means that chain reaction is the rearrangement of molecules with a greater release of energy, where the molecules are being rearranged. So next is explosive strength. So the magnitude of an explosion can be established based on the amount of energy that is released. So what it means is that explosion can be explosion the size of the explosion will matter if the size of explosion will what do you call this, if what it means that if you have large amount of energy, the explosion will also be bigger. So if you have a small amount of energy, the explosion will be smaller. That's what it means. The absolute measure of explosion size determined in terms of the energy released by exploding an explosion. It matters. The amount of energy determine how big the explosion will be. So if you have a small amount of energy, then the explosion will be smaller. So if you have a bigger amount of energy, then the explosion will be bigger. So it determines the size of the explosion. The size of explosion with the amount of energy. So the damage mechanism. Brisance is the direct measure of energy transmission from explosion to the target. This is the most severe because of its shattering action. Brisance is directly proportional to the speed of decomposition of explosives. Explosives with high shattering power are termed high explosives. The brisance effect of the flaring materials is relatively small. Next of damage mechanism is sensitivity. Sensitivity is the effort required to initiate explosive decomposition. The lesser the effort required, the more sensitive is the explosion. Next is shockwave. Shockwave is the damage produced depend on the location of explosion. So, what this means that if there is shockwave in earthquake, there is also shockwave in explosion. So for example, if there will be a grenade, if there will be a grenade that was thrown 20 meters from you, you will feel the energy or the shockwave that comes from the explosion to you. That is shockwave. Next is blast wave. If the detonation occurs above or just below the surface of the ground, most of the damage will be given off the blast. Splinters or fragments from the explosive case that travels as fast as the speed of sound, 1,000 meters per second. Blast wave is generated when the atmosphere surrounding the explosion is forcefully forced back. Earth shock. There are two types of shock: earth shock and water shock. So earth shock wave produced when an explosive detonates underground, producing an earthquake. What it means is that earth shock, if there are an explosive underground, the explosion will create an earthquake. Next is water shock. Water shock wave produced when an ordnance is detonated underwater. So this is earth shock is underground, while water shock is in the water. So there are safety procedures when responding to an explosive incident. The first one is do not use two-way radios or radar or television transmitting device within 500 feet. This includes mobile data, terminals, and cellular phones. Electromagnetic given off by this device can detonate the item. So the first safety procedure is that you in 500 meter there will be no radios or radar or data in an explosive in an explosive device or explosive gadget in within 500 feet of it, because there will be chances that the explosive will detonate, will be accidentally detonate itself because of the interference of the data or radio radars. The next one of the safety procedures is notify proper authorities such as Bureau of Fire Protection, Police Department, and etc. So, if there are explosive incident, always notify the authorities in order for them to make a proper safety procedure for the explosion accident, in order for not to be to explode more or to what do you call this, to cause more damage to the surrounding. Next is clear and control the area. The size and type of explosive or terrain, shielding, and other factors will determine the area be controlled. So, in one of the safety procedures is that clear and control the area. So, the reason why we do that is that in order for the people to not get caught by accident because of the explosive detonating, and there will be no accident or death of people that caused by the explosive. So be always avoid the explosive devices. The next safety procedure is stage emergency medical service or EMS. Fire and police units outside the control point. So emergency medical. So in case of something happen, there will be people that will take care about the situation. Next one of safety procedures is do not proceed to the suspected explosive. It may have motion sensitive or acoustic fuses that function when disturbed or senses target. Use binoculars to observe the area. So, do not approach suspected explosive because there will the reason is that there may be motion sensor in the explosive, that if you try to approach the explosive will explode and may cause your death. And always use binoculars. So if you binoculars in order to observe it from far to determine if it is motion sensor or motion sensor. The next safety procedure is reduce potential effect of blast and flying shrapnel by opening doors and windows and by placing emergency vehicle in the path of the blast wave to act as a shield. So what it means is that if there are explosive incident, make a barricade using cars in order for if an explosive device explode, its shrapnel or debris of it will come flying. So if you use a car, it will help you avoid getting injured because of the shrapnel and debris of the explosion. So that is the safety procedures when responding to an explosive. So in order to know more, we should go back first in topic. So Explosive and explosion. Explosive and explosion. So we should go back to the topic. Go back to the past. Okay. So explosive is any substance that may cause explosion by its sudden decomposition or combustion. Explosive and explosion. So, alright. So, what is the difference between explosive and explosion? The difference between them is that explosive is any substance that may cause explosion by its sudden decomposition or combustion, while explosion is a violent and bursting expansion caused by the release of mechanical and chemical or nuclear energy from a confined area. So this is a phenomenon resulting from a sudden release of energy, and this happens so rapidly that a local accumulation of energy occurs at the site of the explosion, moving outward in waves. So what is the difference between low explosive, primary initiating, and high explosive? The difference between the three is that their amount of energy, or the amount of explosive on them. So in low explosive, as its name says, low, so there will be a little amount of black powder or gunpowder or smokeless powder is being used. So that is why low explosive. While in the primary or initiating explosive, that is where medium size of explosive, where there are average amount of explosive, average amount of black powder or smokeless powder on it. So the last one is high explosive, where as its name says, high explosive. So there are a lot of amount of energy on it, and it's black powder. So what is the difference between organic explosive and inorganic explosive? So in organic explosive it is a nitro containing organic compound, while in organic explosive these are the salt containing explosive. The difference between them is that organic explosive is nitro containing, while in organic explosive is salt containing. So that is the difference between the two. So what is the difference between military explosive and industrial explosive? So the difference between the two is that military explosive is used by as its name say, military, while industrial explosive is used for buildings or small scale of explosives. So the most common thing in industrial explosive is blasting caps, safety fuse, detonating cord, blasting agents, booster, or dynamites. While some of the common military explosives is grenades, ammunition, rocket, and missiles, and mines. So what is the difference between the types of explosion? The difference between the three types of explosion is that in mechanical explosion, it is a sudden breaking apart, shattering, or bursting into pieces by internal pressure, such as those caused by expansion of gas producing high pressure beyond the capacity of the container, also known as pressure explosion. While in atomic explosion it is the atomic of resulting from atomic transformation. In chemical explosion, it is a source of explosion wherein the source of energy comes from an explosive substance such as gunpowder produced through the extremely rapid formation of the unstable substance accompanied by the formation of heat. So in mechanical explosion, whereas the container is being what do you call this? Where the container is being pressured in order to burst or explode, while an atomic explosion is resulting from atomic transformation or the changing of transformation and the changing of atomic. While in chemical explosion, it is used by gunpowder. This is mainly used by military. So factors of rating explosion, the method of ionization, nature of explosive, size and confinement. So we call this a quick summary of damage mechanism. So there are 4 types of damage mechanism. So quick summary, quick recall. Brisance is the direct measure of energy transmission from explosion to the target. What it means is that it is a direct explosion to the target. While sensitivity, the next one is sensitivity, is the effort required to initiate explosive decomposition. Next is shockwave. The damage produced depends on the location of explosion. So what it means is that shockwave. So shockwave is where the explosion will what do you call this? Will katay. So the explosion shockwave is where the explosion will connect to the other part and create another wave of explosion, but there is no explosion, it is just a shockwave. Next is blast wave. It is the detonation occurs above or just below the surface of the ground. Most of the damage will be given off the blast. Splinters or fragments from the explosive case that travel as fast as the speed of sound. So there are earth shock and 2 types of blast wave: earth shock and water shock. Earth shock is a wave produced on underground, while water shock is produced in underwater or water. So safety procedure: within 500 feet of the explosive incident, there will be no communication or radar or radio or data within the explosive incident. Always notify the authorities to the explosive incident. Control or clear the area for the people to not get caught if the explosive will explode. Always there will be always emergency medical service in the area. Do not approach the explosive device if it's not already checked if it is a device that is motion sensitive or motion sensor. Last is use a barricade like car in order to prevent the explosive to be more to deal more damage. That's all. Thank you, sir.